Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is 2012, and we're going to talk about 12-21-12, hopefully until 12-21-12, but not without breaks. That is, hopefully, we'll be on weekly until December 21st, 2012. Enjoy. Your cable boxes and computers have microphones in them. Your cell phones, while hung up, are microphones. All cell phone activities are recorded. They can hear us whisper. Cameras everywhere, and soon your money will have RFID technology and will be traceable. They're putting 80 satellites in space and will track everyone going in and out of a building. Welcome to 2012, the production. The production that I jeopardized my life and social status to bring to you. I'm going to take the time to promote EternityJumper.com. A nothing to buy, nothing to sell, no ads, scripture explaining scripture study guide on the creation, flood, and day of the Lord, which I am committed to offer at no cost. That's EternityJumper.com. EternityJumper.com. All one word, all lower casing. Check back with the site from time to time. More treasures will be added. And ladies and gentlemen, this is 2012, the production. And this production, 2012, is about the times leading up to the end of the Mayan calendar, which for all intents and purposes is 12-21-12. And we're going to begin the show today with some prophecies of Apaches. And this is from ApocalypseSoon.com. The full prophecy of an Apache wise man called Stalking Wolf can be found in The Quest by Tom Brown Jr., 1991. The grandfather had many personal and global prophecies which he shared with Tom Brown. However, in the 1920s, he had a series of 4 prophecies concerning the destruction of man. He said that we could still change things even after the first 2 prophecies came true, but there could be no turning back after the third. A spirit warrior guided the grandfather through a series of visions. In each he saw the effects of each via a form of spirit or astral travel. The spirit warrior said, "These are the things yet to come that will mark the destruction of man. These things you may never see, but you must work to stop them and pass these warnings on to your grandchildren. They begin to obey they are the possible futures of what will come if man does not come back to the earth and begin to obey the law of creation and the Creator. These are the 4 signs, 4 warnings that only the children of earth will understand. Each warning marks the beginning of a possible future. And as each warning becomes reality, so does the future it marks." And ladies and gentlemen, this is from ApocalypseSoon.com, Prophecies of Apaches. First vision. The grandfather found himself in a dry place with little vegetation. He entered a village from which the stench of death came forth. A horrific sight of living starvation and the bodies of the dead greeted him. The frail frames talking of death by starvation. The grandfather was met by a man who he felt was the spirit of an elder of these people. The elder told him, "Welcome to what will be called the land of starvation. The world will one day look upon this with horror and will blame the famine and the weather and the earth. This will he fight. This will be the first warning to the world that man cannot live beyond the laws of creation, nor can he fight nature. If the world sees that it is to blame for this famine, then a great lesson will be learned. This will be the first sign. There will come starvation before and after this starvation, but none will capture the attention of the world with such impact as does this one. The children of the earth will know the lessons that are held in all of this pain and death. But the world will only see. The children of the earth will know the lessons that are held in all of this pain and death. But the world will only see it is a drought and famine, blaming nature instead of itself. Later the spirit warrior came again to the grandfather. Again he spoke. It is during the years of the famine, the first sign, that man will be plagued by a disease that will sweep the land and terrorize the masses. The white coats will have no answers for the people, and a great cry will arise across the land. The disease will be born of monkeys, drugs, and sex. It will destroy man from inside, making a common sickness a killing disease. Mankind will bring this disease upon himself as a result of his life, his worship of sex and drugs, and a life away from nature. This too is a part of the first warning, but again, man will not heed this warning, and he will continue to worship the false gods of sex and the unconscious spirit of drugs. The drugs will produce wars in the cities of man, and the nations will arise against those wars, arise against that killing disease. But the nations will fight in the wrong way, lashing out at the effect rather than the cause. It will never win these wars until society changes its values and stops chasing the gods of sex and drugs. It is then, in the years of the first sign, that man can change the course of the probable future. But once the second sign of destruction appears, the earth can no longer be healed on a physical level. Only a spiritual healing can then change the probable futures of mankind. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is from ApocalypseSoon.com. Apache, Prophecies of Apaches. And this is the second vision. After a period of rest, the grandfather is transported to another scene. A dry landscape barren of vegetation was the scene, with animals laid dying. The heat was oppressive. The sun seemed to be larger and more intense, and no birds or clouds could be seen. It was then that the sky seemed to surge, and huge holes began to appear. These holes tore with a resounding, thunderous sound, and the very earth, rocks, and soil shook. Grandfather saw further visions of dying fish and dolphins, accompanied by tremendous upheavals of the earth and violent storms. Piles of garbage reached to the skies. Forests lay cut and passing and dying. Coastlines were flooded, and storms grew more violent and thunderous. With each passing moment, the earth shook with greater intensity. The spirit warrior confirmed holes in the sky would be the second sign. The holes in the sky and all that you have seen could become man's reality. It is here, at the beginning of this second sign, that man can no longer heal the earth with physical action. It is here that man must heed the warning and work harder to change the future at hand. But man must not only work physically, he must work spiritually through prayer. For only through prayer can man now hope to heal the earth and himself. It is the time of these holes that will mark a great transition in mankind's thinking. They will then be faced with a choice to continue following the path of destruction, or a choice to move back to the philosophy of the earth and a simpler existence. It is here that the decision must be made, or all will be lost. And this is the third vision. After a period of 4 days of contemplation, the grandfather received the third vision. He saw the sky turning to a liquid and then blood red. The red color of the sky was like nothing he had seen before in a sunrise or sunset. The color was that of man, not of nature, and it had a vile stench and texture. It seemed to burn the earth wherever it touched. As sunset turned to night, the stars shone bright red, the color never leaving the sky. And everywhere the cries of fear and pain were heard. The spirit warrior explained, "This then is the third sign, the night of the bleeding stars. It will become known throughout the world, for the sky in all lands will be red with the blood of the sky, day and night. It is then with this sign of the third probable future that there is no longer hope. Life on earth as man has lived it will come to an end, and there can be no turning back, physically or spiritually. It is then, if things are not changed during the second sign, that man will surely know the destruction of the earth is at hand. It is then that the children of the earth must run to the wild places and hide. For when the sky bleeds fire, there will be no safety in the world of man." The Spirit next described the time frame. From this time when the stars bleed to the fourth and final sign will be 4 seasons of peace, i.e. 1 year. It is in these 4 seasons that the children of the earth must live deep in the wild places and find a new home, close to the earth and the Creator. It is only the children of the earth that will survive, and they must live the philosophy of the earth, never returning to the thinking of man. And survival will not be enough, for the children of the earth must also live close to the Spirit. So tell them not to hesitate if and when this third sign becomes manifest in the stars, for there are but 4 seasons to escape. And this is the fourth vision. Finally, the fourth vision, this time described by the voice of a young child, was given to the grandfather. The fourth and final sign will appear through the next 10 winters, i.e. following 10 years, following the night that the stars will bleed. During this time, the earth will heal itself and man will die. For those 10 years, the children of the earth must remain hidden in the wild places, making no permanent camps, and wander to avoid contact with the last remaining forces of man. They must remain hidden like the ancient scouts, and fight the urge to go back to the destruction of man. Curiosity could kill many. The grandfather asked about what was to befall the worlds of man. The child's voice told him there will be a great famine throughout the world, like man cannot imagine. Waters will run vile. The poisons of man's sins running strong in the waters of soils, lakes, and rivers. Crops will fail, the animals of man will die, and disease will kill the masses. The grandchildren will feed upon the remains of the dead. Roving bands of men will hunt and kill other men for food, and water will always be scarce, getting scarcer with each passing year. The land, the water, the sky will all be poisoned, and men will live in the wrath of the Creator. Man will be destroyed, his cities in ruins, and it is then that the grandchildren will pay for the sins of their grandfathers and grandmothers. The voice reiterated that there would only be hope during the first and second signs. Man will be given these warnings if heeded. If unheeded, man will be given these warnings. If unheeded, there can be no hope, for only the children of the earth will purge themselves of the cancers of mankind, of mankind's destructive thinking. It will be the children of the earth who will bring a new hope to the new society, living closer to the earth and spirit. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Prophecies of Apaches from ApocalypseSoon.com. And we're going to continue on with another North American Native American prophecy, ladies and gentlemen. This is from 2012 endofdays.org. 2012 endofdays.org. And first, ladies and gentlemen, we must check the ancient technology. And the ancient technology is working well, and the knobs are turning, and the switches are switching, and the digitals are moving. The ancient technology is working well. And we will continue on, ladies and gentlemen, with Native American prophecies, again from 2012 endofdays.org. American Indians are a diverse ethnic group. Their languages, customs, social systems vary greatly. One common characteristic found in many Indian nations was an affinity to the spiritual side of life. Out of this came Mayan prophecies. One of the most fascinating set of prophecies comes out of the Hopi nation located in the southwestern United States. Many prophecies foretold by the Hopi appear to have come true. Some are these. The fourth world shall end soon, and the fifth world will begin. This the elders everywhere know. The signs over many years have been fulfilled, and so few are left. This is the first sign. We are told of the coming of the white-skinned men, like Pahana, but not living like Pahana men, who took the land that was not theirs, and men who struck their enemies with thunder. This is the second sign. Our lands will see the coming of spinning wheels, filled with voices. In his youth, my father saw this prophecy come true with his eyes, the white men bringing their families in wagons across the prairies. This is the third sign. A strange beast like a buffalo, but with great long horns, will overrun the land in large numbers. These white feathers saw with his eyes the coming of the white men's cattle. This is the fourth sign. The land will be crossed by snakes of iron. This is the fifth sign. The land shall be crisscrossed by a giant spider's web. This is the sixth sign. The land shall be crisscrossed by rivers of stone that make pictures in the sun. This is the seventh sign. You will hear of the sea turning black, and many living things dying because of it. This is the eighth sign. You will see many youth who wear their hair long like my people come and join the tribal nations to learn their ways and wisdom. And this is the ninth and last sign. You will hear of a dwelling place in the heavens, above the earth, that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star, but very soon after this, the ceremonies of my people will cease. These are the signs that great destruction is coming. The world shall rock to and fro. The white man will battle against other people in other lands, with those who possess the first light of wisdom. There will be many columns of smoke and fire, such as White Feather had seen the white men make in the deserts not far from here. Only those which come will cause disease and great dying. Overall, the theme of Hopi prophecy is that the earth is going to soon go through a great purification, and that humanity can make the decision as to how extreme this purification will be. Their belief is that the world goes through a period of destruction and renewal, and that we are about to enter into a new age, the fifth world, or sixth, depending upon the sources. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and that is Native American Prophecy from 2012, endofdays.org. And we're going to look at the ancient technology. And the ancient technology is working well. The knobs are turning, the switches are switching, and the digitals are moving, and the ancient technology is working well. I believe the North American prophecies and the Mayan calendar, Aztec 2012 predictions, Egyptian 2012 prophecies, and Edgar Cayce's reading pointing to the time we're in right now. This date, Edgar Cayce said, which was a reader in the early 1900s, and he gave over 14,000 readings. Half of them were on health and had an uncanny ability to help people with their health problems. And Edgar Cayce said that the times we're living in right now, this date that we're at right now, we are in Armageddon. And in a pitched battle between light and darkness. Now this isn't hard to believe, considering we're all over the Middle East, and the powers that be would like the division of Jerusalem, which is found in the ancient text, Zechariah 14:2. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we know that according to Scripture, Jerusalem will be a trembling cup before all nations. And but as I say, the powers that be would like to see Jerusalem divided and put back to an earlier time when it was divided before 1967, ladies and gentlemen. And now, but we're going to look here in Zechariah 14:2 here, and I will read. The ancient text also speaks. Okay, and I will read, ladies and gentlemen. And this is from Zechariah 14:2. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Okay, so there is in Zechariah 14 of a time in the end, speaking specifically in the end, when Jerusalem will be divided by forces. And I hope the United States isn't one of them, that partake in it, because there are warnings involved with going against Jerusalem at that time to divide Jerusalem. But we won't get into that right now, ladies and gentlemen. But what I'd like to challenge you. I'd like to encourage you. I'd like to encourage you, and I'd like to challenge you to visit eternityjumper.com. a no buy, no sell, no advertising website that explores the creation, flood, and day of the Lord. I recommend taking a look at the page on the flood of Noah. Sometimes you have to get out of the box, ladies and gentlemen, and even those of you who aren't ladies and gentlemen, and look at other views on Scripture, because obviously nobody has disappeared in a raptudo and probably never will. EternityJumper.com is a well thought out study guide that provides a serious guide that may open your eyes to the simpleness in Scripture that God has to offer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will look at the ancient technology, and the ancient technology is working well, and the knobs are turning, and the switches are switching, and the digitals are moving, and the ancient technology is working well. Now I will read some unknown prophecies to you, ladies and gentlemen, and even those of you who aren't ladies and gentlemen, and you know who you are. As the prophecy states, there will be a person who will have a bag on his head and use ancient technology to wake the people up to the world around them, and will use prophecies of other peoples and cultures to explain the times they live in and shake them and plead with all flesh to warn them to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And now we will end with this question. For those of you who get your power from Satan, what are you going to do without your leader?